from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, said President Buhari has the buy-in of all African leaders. The minister said the enthusiasm which greeted the choice of Nigeria's president is an indication of the determination of the continent to tackle headlong the scourge that has given the continent a bad image. He said
judiciary, the importance of strengthening the judiciary and having an independent judiciary and implementation. I think that obviously, for your population to have total buy-in to this, they also want to see the authorities, walking the walk and not just talking the talk. So they want to see convictions and they want to have a situation where nobody, whatever the position they hold, is above the law. But I think Mr. President also made another point, important point. He talked about also the role of, multinational corporations and their agents within our countries. And also he talked about, recovery of stolen assets. So it's a global fight as well. Of course, first and foremost, we have to get it right on the continent, and all our leaders, have to be absolutely involved in this fight.
He said President Buhari is not unmindful of the fact that it is not going to be easy, but said with multinational cooperation, he is optimistic that with the wind of change already blowing in Africa, the fight will be won. He also reiterated President Muhammadu Buhari's call on the African continent to be resolute until all necessary legal institutional mechanisms are in place. Well, the 30th ordinary session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government opened in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, with the formal launch of 2018 as Anti-Corruption Year for Continental Bloc. President Muhammadu Buhari, who performed the ceremony, was emphatic that to win the fight against corruption, African nations must not only empower adequately their national anti-corruption agencies, but also ensure that they are insulated from political influence. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
For the first time in history, fighting corruption has been made the major focus of the African Union Summit because of its devastating effect on the continent's economic development, social cohesion, and political order. And without doubt, the remarkable achievements recorded by Nigeria in the renewed onslaught against corruption in the last 2.5 years informed the selection of President Muhammadu Buhari to champion the crusade at the continental level. Performing the launch of the Anti-Corruption Year as well as its theme, Winning the Fight Against Corruption, a Sustainable Path to Africa's Transformation, President Muhammadu Buhari congratulated the African leaders for the noble cause of eradicating the menace which he described as the greatest evil of the present time.
Corruption and its effects have many sides. It poses real threat to national security, unity and survival of the African state and people. I pledge that I shall do my very best to ensure that the anti-corruption agenda will receive the attention it deserves and make the impact we all hope for during 2018 and beyond.
While promising to, among others, organize African Youth Congresses against corruption, mobilize all member states to implement the AU Convention on Preventing and Combating Corruption, the President advocated the strengthening of the criminal justice system across Africa through sharing of best practices in the enforcement of the anti-corruption laws.
As we set off on this honorable path, let us also bear in mind that fighting corruption is not going to be a straightforward task, and that corruption does fight back. We should remain resolute. Our common goal is to eradicate corruption in the best interest of our societies.
President Buhari, who reiterated Nigeria's abiding commitment to the sustainable fight against corruption, said with Africa losing $50 billion annually to illicit financial flows, concerted efforts must be made towards stopping the continuous assault on economic and financial resources of the continent by multinationals.
During the fight against corruption, we must have a change of mindset. It is also important that one of the goals of this year's theme should be the development of a common African position on asset recovery.
At the opening of the summit, attended by PLO leader Mahmoud Abbas, President Paul Kagame of Rwanda took over the chairmanship of the African Union from his Guinean counterpart, Alpha Conde.
We are running out of time, and we must act now to save Africa from permanent deprivation. We must create a single continental market, integrate our infrastructure, and infuse our economies with technology.
Slavery has made too much harm to Africa in the past for us to be able to accept new forms of slavery today. We must maximize the benefits of orderly migration while stamping out abuses and prejudice.
Newly elected presidents of Angola, Zimbabwe, Liberia, Benin Republic and Somalia were formally welcomed, while Professors Malik Maza of Algeria and Robert Miller of South Africa carted home the Kwame Nkrumah Continental Scientific Awards and prize money of $100,000 each. Apart from fighting corruption, the African leaders also resolved to synergize and work harder towards not only addressing violent conflicts in parts of the continent, but also achieving greater unity and solidarity amongst member states for accelerated political and socio-economic development. From Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And still in Addis Ababa, Nigeria's efforts at reducing the burden of HIV/AIDS and the contribution of the Future Assured program of the wife of the president, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, received special acknowledgement at the 20th Ordinary Assembly of the Organization of African First Ladies Against HIV/AIDS in Addis Ababa. Makut Simon Macham reports.
Africa has been working hard to reduce the high burden of HIV/AIDS on the continent. The Organization of African First Ladies has been contributing to this fight through its networking and country-based activities. At the 28th Ordinary General Assembly in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, they are prioritizing on children, adolescents and mothers in the fight against the disease. Wife of Nigeria's President Aisha Muhammadu Buhari was represented at the meeting by wives of governors of Borno, Abia and Jigawa states, as well as the senior special assistant to the president in her office, Dr. Hajosani.
And her message to this 20th session, General Assembly of the Organization of African First Lady of HIV is under the 30th UN African Union General Assembly and Summit, is that she reiterated her commitment in the fight against HIV and AIDS in Nigeria. And I'm happy during the presentation of the President of OFLA, the First Lady of Ethiopia, they were able to mention, as well as that of the United Nations and the UN Secretary General on HIV and AIDS, Mr. Michel Sidibe, they identify Nigeria that has success stories and lessons to learn on this. A number of strategies on the fight against HIV/AIDS in Nigeria.
The wives of governors say they have learned valuable lessons.
And moving on now, the All Progressives Party's motive for restructuring is anchored on improving governance and national cohesion. This was confirmed by National Publicity Secretary of the party, Bolaji Abdullahi, on Good Morning Nigeria, where he joined other guests in discussing the APC Restructuring Committee report. Lydia Sampson has the details.
Bolaji Abdullahi was emphatic that the APC report on restructuring is not negotiating the existence of Nigeria as a corporate entity, but more of seeking better ways to make Nigeria work for the good of our citizenry. This, according to him, is why the committee interfaces widely with Nigerians to arrive at their recommendations.
Give us the benefit of the doubt. We promise Nigerians, and we are taking massive steps, even where we are today. Because, look, we are the custodian of the status quo, as it were, as a ruling party. But we are making recommendations that patiently subvert that status quo. I believe that we have taken a massive step. We don't think it's late in the day. We believe we have ample opportunity to implement this. And
Guests in Good Morning Nigeria, however, expressed divergent views. While some said it is a welcome development that the APC has articulated their input in the national debate.
Something like restructuring exists in the APC constitution, but since it came to power, We have had a lot of discordant tunes among individuals and groups within the party as to the exact position of the party on the restructuring.
What the APC has done is its own standpoint. It would be very nice for the opposition party as well to also articulate what it means by restructuring, because a good segment of the Nigerian population is demanding it.
So the common denominator there is the people. So no matter how the party feels on an issue like this, it still has to take it through the people. And that is what that panel has done, and has now come up with recommendations that I think are quite laudable.
They unanimously agreed that restructuring can be interpreted different ways to different Nigerians, and if not properly handled, can also be problematic. The guest, however, noted that positive contributions from previous recommendations should equally be recognized and allowed to impact on the final report for the good of the country and her people. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
Let's link up with Ademola in our Lagos Network Center for more reports. It's over to you now, Ademola.
Thank you, Ogwa, and thanks for joining us in Lagos. The Senate Committee on Navy has stressed the need for improved funding of the Nigerian Navy in the face of increasing threats on the Nigerian territorial waters. The chairman of the committee, Senator Issa Miso, made this remark after inspecting facilities at the Western Naval Command, Apapa, and Naval Base, Ojo, in Lagos.
The visit by the Senate Committee on Navy provided a better understanding for the members on the urgent demand of the Navy. At the Western Naval Command and Naval Training Command, they were briefed on the operations of the command and their challenges.
The Navy, in trying to keep to its mandate, has reduced to the barest minimum all illegalities that take place at our maritime environment.
Thereafter, members of the committee inspected facilities and ongoing projects at the naval base in Apapa. At the naval base Ojo, members of the committee saw demonstration by personnel of the Special Boat Service on Anti-Terrorism and Air Operation. Chairman Senate Committee on Navy said the time has come for the Navy to be given full support as they protect the country.
What we are going to do as a committee, we will try as much as possible to see outside the envelope if we can get maybe assistance from NNPC, CBN, NIMASA and other agencies that are benefiting from the Navy. If we can get assistance for them, and because of the role the Navy is playing, we just need to assist them as in the National Assembly.
The committee is expected to visit other naval bases across the country in continuation of its oversight function.
Officers and men of the Nigerian Army have been charged to close ranks in order to surmount the security challenges confronting the nation. The outgoing General Officer commanding 81 Division of the Nigerian Army gave this charge at the handing over ceremony that saw the emergence of his successor, Major General Onobong Okon Ubo in Lagos.
That decoration by the outgoing General Officer commanding 81 Division, Major General Peter Dauke, kick-started the official resumption of Major General Enobong Okun Udo as the new General Officer commanding 81 Division. The outgoing GOC, who was transferred to Abuja as Deputy Commandant National Defense College, urged all officers to support the new GOC.
Cooperation and understanding to the incoming General Officer who I have no doubt of his capacity to deliver. He is a veteran General Officer commanding and taking his second opportunity to command 81 Division.
In the same vein, the General Officer commanding 81 Division, Major General Enobong Okon Udo, enjoined officers to be hardworking and maintain their core mandates.
I believe in work and work. I believe in professionalism. But anything outside professionalism, then it means that there is something wrong somewhere that needs to be corrected.
During his time as General Officer Commanding 81 Division, Major General Peter Dauke contributed immensely to the development of the division.
The need for credible volunteers to enhance electoral integrity and reduce the huge cost associated with election in the country has been advocated. This was the thrust of public lecture delivered by the former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Atairu Jega. Jessica Moses reports that the lecture was titled Prospect and Challenges of Involving Volunteers in Nigeria's Electoral Process.
Professor Jega noted that the success of the 2011 and 2015 general elections was achieved through credible volunteerism. He explained that the involvement of core members and members of the academic community reduced the level of compromise as INEC officials were kept out of the picture on the election day. Professor Jega noted that the electoral body must be steps ahead of politicians who at all costs will want to induce electoral officers. He disclosed that 1% of the over 30,000 NYC members used in the 2015 general elections were compromised by politicians.
Every citizen of Nigeria has a right and should use every opportunity available to him or her to volunteer to improve the integrity of elections, because that is central to the legitimacy of our governance process and to democratic development in our country.
Chairman, University of Lagos Muslim Community and past INEC Commissioner, Professor Lai Olurode, noted that credible volunteerism will help reduce corruption before, during and after elections.
The volunteerism that was discussed has to do with what we've done and what we as university system also have done to be able to assist the electoral process in the nation.
Citizen volunteerism, according to the lecture, had helped in contributing to electoral credibility in the developed countries. In Lagos, Jesuito Moses, NTA News.
Well, that does it. From Lagos is back to you, Ogwa, for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Ademola. The former governor of Benue State, Senator George Akume, has advised leaders at all levels to collectively tackle the persistent farmers and herdsmen crisis in order to promote national unity rather than continually shifting blame. Senator Akume said this in Lafia when he met with Governor Umaru Tanko Almakura. Joshua Ojito tells us more.
The meeting between Senator George Akume and Governor Umaru Tanko Almakura, which lasted about an hour, was held behind closed door. After the meeting, Senator Akume acknowledged that the farmers' herdsmen crisis is a phenomenon of many decades. He said what is needed is a multifaceted approach in tackling the menace. The former governor said one of the solutions to the farmers' herdsmen crisis is establishment of cattle ranches, which has been adopted by the Northern Governors Forum.
We are all one. We have shared destiny. We have commonality of values, shared interest, shared experiences, and even institutions. So I want to thank you for asking this question. And for those of you who are media people, do whatever you can to promote peace and unity, not just in the north but throughout the country.
Senator Akume commended Governor Almakura for development of Nasarawa State. In Lafia, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
And to health matters now, the Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, says the federal government, as a matter of urgency, will inject more funds to fully activate the Virology Center in Ebonyi State for optimal use. He made the promise at a one-day working visit to the state. Kingsley Okoro reports.
The minister, who was particularly happy with the commitment of Ebonyi State government in health service delivery, he said that the federal government will in a couple of weeks activate the laboratory to avoid further loss of lives.
The place is operational, but we will also add more things so that it can become truly a virology center that will look after patients beyond Lassa fever. So federal looks after policy and provides additional support.
The minister, who was later received by the Deputy Governor Dr. Kelechi Igwe at the government house, said the state
We seem to have technical issues with that report. Moving on now, the federal government will partner state governments with visionary policies to make healthcare service delivery affordable and available to the people. Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, said this while unveiling a special health intervention program tagged Healthcare Plus in Lokoja. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports.
There is no gainsaying that the affordability of healthcare facility is directly proportional to its accessibility. It is in a bid to actualize this that the Kogi State government launched the project Healthcare Plus.
Healthcare Plus services and supplies are not to be sold to the people under any circumstance.
Professor Isaac Adewale, while unveiling the project, says it will enable the people have access to quality healthcare services.
Even up to now, there are still governors who are yet to release their money. You not only approved, but you also released. At the federal level, we've done almost 8,000 free surgeries last year alone. And so you made our job simpler. When the governor and his government invest in health, it makes our job at the federal level easier.
For the benefits of Kogi women and children.
Wife of the governor, Rashida Bello, called on pregnant women in the state to take advantage of the projects for their antenatal care, as it is completely free of charge. The kits unveiled include postpartum hemorrhage pack, episiotomy pack, and hypertensive pack. Adebola, Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We now break for some commercials.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
Under no conditions whatsoever should we tolerate or excuse or justify hate speech or hateful conduct of any kind, especially where such is illegal.
There is no doubt that the resurgent push for separatism, as well as the rising cases of ethnic and religious disharmony, are all traceable to the growing phenomenon of hate speech.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
The challenge of governance is our focus on NTA Tuesday Live. This week, as experts will examine the gains of our current democracy and the workings of the economy, plus the unseen variables. Tuesday Live, informative and incisive. Join us.
Catfishing, cyberbullying, impersonation, identity theft.
Nadia, I'm happy here.
And all manner of internet fraud are rife in our society today, and Professor John Bull cannot turn a blind eye and pretend like it's not happening.
We have to be very careful because of the pseudonymous, anonymous, and incognito of the internet now.
This week on your rib-cracking comedy, we bring you the episode titled Fake Accounts.
What are that?
Abba, what I know they were not Korede.
Join us and see how Korede Bello's name and image was used to catfish our simple and good-natured Medoya.
But I sent them for you, man. Oh, sorry.
Korede don't day now. Now year going on 90 Korede won't start.
You have been catfish. Yeah?
Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow,
the largest data network. Glow Unlimited.
Experience, they say, is the best teacher.
They hold us from the sea. Thank God that we came back home. They should not go there because it's not good. It's a very bad place. So they just may have us.
Even now, sir, they are shooting the boat they are going to use to go Italy. Let them stop it. Our country is good. Our country is a blessed country. Now I know our country is a blessed country. I know before I for not travel from Nigeria to Libya. I know how much I spent.
Let these personal experiences serve as a lesson to all who would repeat their mistakes. A word is enough for the wise.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Thank you for staying tuned. Over 500 politicians defect to APC in Langtang. These are more with Sani in our Just Network Center. It's over to you, Sani.
Welcome to Jos. The All Progressives Congress, APC in Plateau State, now has more members, with over 2,000 defectors from other parties in Langtang South local government area of the state. Ben Mitu was at Timbol Ward in Langtang South, where the defectors were received.
Going by the massive turnout, the passion and enthusiasm, it is evident that the APC is acceptable in Timbol Ward of Langtang South local government area. Those who defected to the ruling party said they are convinced by what the APC is doing nationally and at the state level and want to be part of the success story.
We also have performed excellent, even within a shorter period of not up to 3 years.
State Deputy Chairman who received the new members said their decision is a noble one.
The people cannot join us. It is only when they see the good thing you are doing. We cannot say no to anybody. Even the whole plateau will turn to a one political party. They are all welcome.
Political gladiators from Langtang South local government area, like the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, who was represented, the Commissioner for Special Duties, the member representing the area at the State Assembly, and the Management Committee Chairman of the local council, applauded the courage of the incoming members, saying they will not regret their decision. Timbol Ward is one of the biggest wards in Langtang South local government area. From Timbol in Langtang South local government area, Ben Mitu, NTA News.
Away from politics now, as Nigerians join the international community to mark this year's World Leprosy Day. The need to care for people living with leprosy, an ancient disease that is prevalent in Africa and Asia, continues to get attention. Ijeoma Ozomena examines this year's theme, Zero Disabilities in Girls and Boys, against the backdrop of efforts to tackle the disease in Plateau State.
Well, we seem to have lost our connection with Just there. Well, over 5,000 internally displaced persons have benefited from the intervention of the National Commission for Refugees and Internally Displaced Persons in Kebbi State. Usman Abdullahi Shehu reports that the Federal Commissioner, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, flagged off the distribution in Kamba, Kayama and Bunza.
The intervention are economic empowerment materials that include sewing machine, grinding machines and livestock. Other items are building materials that include cement, roofing sheets and timber, among others. The rest are food items like rice, millet, sorghum and cooking oil. The Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrant and Internally Displaced Persons, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, said the Commission is committed to ensuring lasting solution for the persons of concern who are displaced by man-made or natural disaster, as keying into plans and programs of President Muhammadu Buhari for the persons of concern in the country. Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk described economic empowerment as the key ingredient in addressing the plight of the people of concern. She said the Commission will continue to provide opportunities for the people to help them regain their dignity among the society.
President Muhammadu Buhari, he has asked us to come and bring these relief materials to you, and he sends his warm wishes to you.
Governor Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, represented by Secretary to Kebbi State Government Alhaji Babale Umar Yawuri, lauded the commitment of the Commission. and register the state government support to help the people back to their feet. Some of the beneficiaries expressed gratitude for the gesture and assured judicious use of the intervention items. The Federal Commissioner similarly commissioned a training and skill acquisition center in Bunza where the persons of concern will receive their training. In Birnin Kebbi, Usman Abdullahi Shehu, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture is to promote agricultural market information to aid investment in the sector of the economy in line with the Economic Recovery Program of the federal government. The initiative is also to encourage increase in production, processing, marketing and exportation of agricultural produce. Musa Baba Aliu reports.
It has been observed that Nigeria is lagging behind in data gathering and analysis for agricultural development and marketing of agricultural produce. Agriculture economists are of the view that data collection remains paramount to Nigeria's diversification policy through agriculture. In achieving this, therefore, the ministry has established one-stop agricultural market information center to provide market information support services and data to guide investors and exporters.
We want agriculture in Nigeria to be like that. You sit down in the comfort of your house somewhere in other continents and access what Nigeria has in terms of crop produce that can be exported. And this we want to cover all the value chains. Whatever crop we have, we hope with time we're able to export some of that to earn the necessary foreign exchange for our development.
In the meantime, these officers of the ministry are to be trained on data collection across the country as the government is looking at the possibility of establishing regional data information offices across the country.
To collect, analyze, transmit, and disseminate relevant agricultural market information related to agricultural commodities.
Market Information Center has been established in Abuja with the support of the United States Agency for International Development. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
The National Youth Council of Nigeria says it is ready to key into the diversification quest of the federal government, particularly in agriculture. This is coming as the council mends fences in crisis which raged for over 8 years. Olayinka Ojo reports.
Considering the time and season we are in now, there is the need to reduce overdependence on oil in Nigeria, as the message to the more than 90 million youths in the country is to fashion better ways of boosting the economy through agriculture. Reiterating that the National Youth Council of Nigeria Directorate of Agriculture is working towards acquiring about 520 hectares of land in some parts of the country, Director of Agriculture of the Council, Aminu Yakubu, represented by the Secretary Stanley Uche, says out of the 520, 290 hectares have already been acquired. This, he noted, will provide massive employment for people at the grassroots, as well as reduce incessant urban-rural migration of youths from their communities.
We are set to make the difference in showing that diversity is in need in people, making sure Nigerian youth are empowered through agriculture.
He, however, appealed to government at all levels, key players in the agriculture sector, as well as well-meaning individuals to key into the program so that Nigeria can return to the days when agriculture was the biggest source of revenue in the country. In Abuja, Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Thanks for staying with us on Nationwide. We'll take another short break now. Do stay with us.
NTA TV College Jos, an affiliate of the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, is organizing a one-month short course on online news reporting. The course is scheduled for 5th February to 16th March 2018 at the NTA TV College premises, Rayfield, Jos. The cost for workshop is 100,000 Naira per participant, accommodation inclusive. This course will be targeting professional journalists and those wishing to pursue courses in this field. The course will be teaching participants the act of using mobile phone cameras and digital cameras to generate reports and how these news stories, photos and videos can be produced or even published straight from the field, making the news production process faster and more efficient. Take advantage of this opportunity. NTA TV College, training you to be the best you want to be. For inquiries, contact the academic office on 0806 908 9807, 0816 956 1843.
Thank you so much for inspiring greatness in me, Alaji.
Alaji?
I am just rehearsing, dear.
Rehearsing for what?
A life-changing and inspiring meeting.
With who?
Alhaji Aliko Dangote.
With the FGNI app and just 500 naira, you stand a chance to meet one-on-one with Alhaji Aliko Dangote, Africa's richest man, and win cash prizes. As the Be Inspired meetings give Nigerians a chance to meet one-on-one with icons. To qualify for the draw, download FGNI app from Apple Store or Google Play Store. Go to the Be Inspired section and follow the instructions. Cost of travel and accommodation of all winners within Nigeria will be borne by the organizers. Terms and conditions apply. Proudly supported by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
The time has come for Nigeria to take her rightful place in world sports with the first national grassroots sports festival to discover and prepare sport talent and develop future world champions for Nigeria. The festival date is 3rd to 10th March 2018. Venue is the National Stadium, Abuja, packages A and B. This is the opportunity for you to promote your brand through the festival. For broadcast sponsorship, which include live broadcasts, highlight shows, and TV fans show, contact the Chairman, Chief Coordinator, Angelo Peter I. Elosia, or Nick Onishi. Organizers, Grassroots International Sports Academy and LOP Worldwide Television, endorsed by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. Broadcast partner, NTA.
Nationwide continues now. As part of activities marking the burial of first elected Vice President of Nigeria, Dr. Alex Ekweme, a parade of honor has been held in Abuja. Vice President Professor Yemi Oshibajo, who described late Dr. Ekweme as a patriotic Nigerian, said he would be remembered for his selfless service to the nation and the world at large. He added that the late Dr. Ekweme's commitment and sacrifice to the unity of the country will not be in vain.
We are reminded of his selfless service to nation, to our region, to Africa, and indeed the world. We are reminded of his commitment to timeless ideals, to the timeless ideals of integrity, of loyalty, and of kindness to all.
The body has been flown to Enugu for continuation of burial rites. He will be buried on the 2nd of February 2018. Igbo leaders received Dr. Alex Ekweme's body at the Akanu Ibiam International Airport. Let's join Chiogonu for this and more on from our Enugu Network Center.
Good afternoon, Ogo, and welcome to Enugu. The remains of former Vice President of Nigeria, late Dr. Alex Ekweme, have been received in Enugu by Southeast governors in company of the President General Ohaneze Ndigbo at the Akanu Ibiam International Airport, Enugu. Ijoma Ugweke reports that the brief but memorable ceremony was attended by representatives of various security agencies.
As the flight number 8 touched ground at the Akanu Ibiam International Airport, the Southeast governors of Ebonyi, Enugu, Anambra, and Imo, as well as Igbo leaders, awaiting the arrival of the body of the elder statesman, proceeded to receive him. The ceremony was attended by dignitaries from far and near who came to condole with the family of late icon and the people of the Southeast for the passing on of a man who left his footprints on the sands of time. Indeed, it's a solemn moment for the people of the Southeast Nigeria as they receive the body of the late former Vice President, Dr. Alex Ekweme, from the Akanu Ibiam International Airport. Ijomu Kweke, NTA News.
Special Advisor to President Muhammadu Buhari on social investment, Wise, has described late Mrs. Obiageli Nwankwo as a detribalized Nigerian who has invested in human development through advocacy and empowerment. Mrs. Wise stated this during a National Day of Tribute held in honor of the late icon who spearheaded the formation of civil society organizations in Nigeria. Ngozi Silva, Technica, tells us more.
The Special Advisor to the President on Social Investment, Miriam Uwais, alongside other dignitaries including the Justice of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, Justice Sentus Nweze, recounted the numerous contributions of late Obiageli Theodore Nwankwo to include promotion and advocacy of the rights and emancipation of women, elimination of all kinds of violence and injustices against women and children. Also remarkable is the contribution of our NGO, Civil Resource Development and Documentation Center, SEDOC, in pushing for the passage of the Gender and Equal Opportunity Bill at the National Assembly.
There's a way that this bill could be passed. We could call it the Obi did so much more than people realize.
The only way you can keep the memory of our sister alive is to make this a permanent feature of our legal system.
The children of the deceased described their mother as a woman of brevity who is committed to the upliftment of the downtrodden. The facilitator of the event, Professor Joy Ezilu, said the positive impact of late Obi Nwankwo's activities are felt by people of different ethnic and socio-cultural backgrounds, both in Nigeria and beyond.
I watched the way she loved everyone, the way she gracefully handled chaos. She had the ability to remain calm.
She was, until her death, on a UN expert committee of SEDO, promoting and championing human rights around the world, especially the issue of gender equality.
Late Obi Nwankwo hails from Awka in Anambra State and died on the 9th of December 2017 after a brief illness, leaving 7 children. From Enugu, Ngozi Silva, Technical, NTA News.
The of the Enugu State Raffle Traders Empowerment Scheme has been drawn at 9th Mile Market Udi, with 100 traders emerging as winners. Ijoma Weke reports that the raffle draw brings to an end the first phase of the scheme.
The scheme, initiated by Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, is aimed at assisting traders in the 37 registered markets in the state to enable them boost their various businesses and also improve the economy of the state. The 12th edition and grand finale of the scheme drew personalities from far and near who witnessed the presentation of checks to the winners. They appreciated the giant strides by Governor Ugwuanyi, which they said have impacted positively on the lives of the people.
I am not going to talk about the market in 9 Mile. I just want to say that apart from the infrastructure, the greatest asset you've given the Enugu State people is to teach them how to fish. When you give somebody 50,000 naira, it's just like the parable in the Bible.
Governor Ugwuanyi, while congratulating the winners, disclosed that government is planning to look into other areas where it can empower youths, less privileged, and the widows. A total of 1,200 traders have benefited from the scheme. In Enugu, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
That report does it from here. Ogwa, over now to you for more reports on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Chiogonu. Over 11,000 youth who have undergone a 3-month intensive training in several skills have been presented with starter packs. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports that the youth were charged not to toy with their destiny, but rather prove to the world that the 3-month training was worth the while.
Nigeria, with over 180 million people, over 60% of the country's population are youth. Records from the National Bureau of Statistics show that unemployment rate in Nigeria stands at about 17% in the second quarter of 2017. Towards reducing the rate of unemployment in Nigeria, these youths, drawn from all the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory FCT, were trained in fashion designing, welding and fabrication, plumbing and pipe fitting. Minister of State, Trade and Investment, Aisha Abubakar, urged the youth to remain focused as the present administration is committed towards making life better for the citizenry.
There will be teething problems when you start your business. Please don't relent, don't fall back. Seek help. You need to have proper business plans. You need to seek financial assistance. You also need to seek staff that will assist you in running your businesses.
The starter packs would be like the proverbial mustard seed, which will, by the grace of God Almighty, blossom into a mighty tree that will provide shade and food for many people.
Thank you today for this training you've given us, and we promise you that we'll put into place everything we've learned and we'll move Nigeria forward. Director
General of the Industrial Training Fund, Joseph Ari, led the minister and other delegates to the exhibition stands of the graduates.
Socio-economic diversification and industrialization policy of President Muhammadu Buhari GCFR is the direction to go. Mr. President has brought up a policy that is unique, that should be embraced, and that is practiced the world over.
The training is the third in the series. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
Moral reorientation through inculcating religious teaching in the youth is said to be needed in addressing the growing moral decadence in the society. This is what the presentation of 4 Islamic books by Sheikh Tijani Bala Kalarawi hopes to achieve. Musa Abubakar reports.
The state of criminality and declining morals in the society, fueled by internet usage, especially by youths in recent times, has continued to be a source of concern in the country. Community and religious leaders in this gathering believe that the unveiling of these 4 books on reward for patience, good upbringing, and guide to daily prayers in Islam, written in Hausa language, can address some of these challenges.
Nation of life. So we pray Almighty Allah continue to guide us and give our youth the wisdom and the sort of knowledge to know what it's supposed to do at any given time and do it rightly.
Most of the topics treated by the author are relevant. Appeal to the government and individuals to purchase this book and distribute to our schools for the use of our teachers.
I hope the book will be useful to the society.
One of the books, titled Jagora Tarbiyar Yara, which is translated as Guide to Good Upbringing of Children, in English has 5 chapters and dwell on good parenting. In Abuja, Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
The riverine terrain of Bayelsa State predisposes the state to ecological challenges of coastal erosion. Aya Prezi in this special report examines how the growing phenomenon of climate change has aggravated the coastal erosion in the state.
Bayelsa, still occupying the largest coastline of Nigeria, is a home to many rivers, creeks and streams. As such, many of its communities are settled along riverside and the coastline. Several of these communities are perennially ravished by coastal erosion, which has become a major ecological threat in the state. Communities like Ayamogbea, Agudamekpechama, Sampo in Ikalga, Obuguru in Yelga, and Sampo in Kolga, among many others, have suffered loss of farmlands, buildings, marketplaces, and wet paths, among others. Indigents who lament the endemic perennial challenge recount their ordeals and appeal for government intervention.
There was a mango tree at this waterside, but for now, and they erode in front of the mango. For now, you cannot even imagine where the mango tree was, not to talk of the road that was in front of it.
As the erosion entered, the ground they vibrate like waiting us. Then they shoot dynamite. So we pack all the loot, even run out. Then the whole building collapsed.
People of Obogoro community, we are no longer safe. NTA, you are part of us. You have been seeing this crisis. You came last year. You saw where the land was. Today you are here again. You can testify the challenges we are facing.
We really needed the protection, and if that one is maybe too costly for them, then we think of alternatively to fill the backside so that we can also move backward.
An environmental health scientist, Mr. Watson Paminola, attributes the growing coastal erosion challenge to increase environmental friendly activities.
And
scientifically, all these have been linked to climate change as a result of emissions, especially gaseous emissions into the atmosphere.
Mr. Pamilola recommends shoreline protection, planting of erosion preventive weeds, and adoption of environmental-friendly attitude as some measures against the menace of coastal erosion. In Yenagoa, Aya, Brazil, NTA News.
And for news trending across the globe, here is Obiageli Ugwoke.
Hello and welcome. A South African scientist, Professor Robert Miller, has been named the winner of the 2018 prestigious $100,000 AU Kwame Nkrumah Award in Life and Earth Science category. Following Professor Miller's win of the award, South Africa's President Jacob Zuma, who congratulated the scientist, said the development of science and technology is essential for improving the lives of Africans. The awards have been running since 1998 in memory of Pan-Africanist and Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. And in Finland, President Sauli Niinisto has been re-elected for his second 6-year term. Official results showed that Mr. Niinisto secured 62.7% of the total vote cast in Sunday's poll, easily beating his Green Party, who had 12.4%. He is the first candidate to win in the first round of voting since the electoral system was changed in 1994. President Niinisto won popularity by maintaining relations with Moscow despite Finland backing economic sanctions against Russia over its annexation of Crimea from Ukraine. And the United Nations humanitarian report has warned that more than 100,000 Rohingya refugees huddled in squalid muddy camps in Bangladesh will be in danger from landslides when the mid-year monsoon season begins. There are now over 9,000 Rohingyas in the Cox's Bazar area of the Bangladesh after several of them fled violence in Myanmar late August. Aid workers say the camps sheltering the new arrivals are completely inadequate. And that concludes this package. Thanks for being there. I am Obiageli Ugwoke.
And our sports update is next.